Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Indians feel very proud of their judiciary, very conscious, very honest, very impartial. It was, and it is at times. I think history was made when the Allahabad High Court unseated the sitting Prime Minister. But then things change. And now, although by and large it's okay, but there have been instances when it needs to tighten up. The judges have become too social to the extent of going for the press conferences to voice their grievances. Imagine the Supreme Court judges talking about their grievances, and that to the press. It's never done. As a matter of fact, in any other civilized country, such judges would have been impeached. But not in India. After all, they are my lords, the keepers of the conscience of the country, the custodians of the constitution and the rights of the people. And there are times when these judges slip up badly. Sometimes it's ridiculous and ludicrous, sometimes it's shocking. One of the High Court judges had recently said that fondling the breast of a young child is not sexual assault. And she was a lady. Of course, later on the Supreme Court took justice and the lady resigned. But a High Court judge saying that fondling the breast of a teenager by an elderly man of 40 plus is not sexual assault. Can anything be worse than that? And the plea she took is there is no skin to skin contact. And I had remarked at that time. And it was quoted by one of the judges that means that you can rape a girl with the condom on because there is no skin to skin contact and it would not be rape. I have seen that the judges in India, though by and large they are very conscious of their rights as well as their duties, perform very well, impartially, objectively. But some of them have a penchant for making observations that range from pathetic to ridiculous. I talked about this judge of Karnataka High Court who talked that this is not a sexual assault. There's another thing came up, which shows me that the judges need to loosen up. A Patna High Court judge just last week was commenting and giving officers a dressing down for wearing casuals. He was wearing basically a trouser and a shirt. Of course, shirt was open collared, and Bihar, is very hot. So he was wearing what we normally put in a dress, but he was not wearing a jacket, and jacket is not very common wear in India. So this High Court judge started giving a dressing down because he was coming in workday casual attire, and according to the judge that did not conform to the dress code. And to best of my knowledge, there is no dress code at all. The only thing is it should be decent. And going by the video clip circulating online, the officials were dressed in regular shirts and slacks, and the judges would have them in formal jackets, either with a tie or band gala. And it was the Principal Secretary of Urban Development and Housing, Anand Kishore. He got into the skin of the Patna High Court for not being in a proper frame of mind. So not putting on a jacket and a tie meant that the man is mentally not well. And I was shocked. PB, Brajantri, the judge, criticized the official for not introducing himself before the High Court in a suit and proceeded to inquire whether Babu was in a film lobby or in a court. If you remember earlier in Karnataka, in April, about 3 months back, a Karnataka Chief Justice, Ritu Ramavasti, had comparatively reproved the Principal Secretary of the State Revenue Department because he was wearing a full-sleeve shirt but without a jacket. Mind boggles. We are moving in the days of minimalism. We are moving away from the customs. We are moving away from the status quo and informal society. And on the matter of formal, informal attire in India, there are two schools of thought. One for the believers that formal official occasions demand formal dressing, which is often heavy and over the top. The other order of thinking is that we need to dump these foreign-driven colonial hangovers and dress codes. By that matter, when Mahatma Gandhi appeared in Buckingham Palace with a loincloth, he was committing a crime, maybe sedition, insult to their royalty. But no. And then I have seen even the judges seeing the politicians coming in lungi and dhoti and kurta. That's not formal according to the Western Code of India. But then it's a national dress. Kurta pajama is an accepted dress. But if I go by the judges, these two judges, the Allahabad High Court, the Karnataka High Court and the Patna High Court, every politician is shabbily dressed. And then in summer in India, lashing out at an official for wearing light clothes, which are in no way disrespectful, seems to take the cake. Would the judge have a meltdown as the official appeared as a cool white dhoti and kurta? It is something which is more than ludicrous. It is shocking. For that matter, our dress code itself, the black robes, black jacket for one, need to be trashed. Okay, for the professionals, the lawyers and the judges, it's fine. And then, you remember, I made an observation when Nawaz Sharif, at one time Pakistan Prime Minister, came to Delhi. It was 40-degree temperature and he was wearing a heavy suit and a necktie. And then I wrote at that time, I think the SARC people can learn from the Asian bhais in dressing down a bit, at least a little less lightly. And it's ridiculous. You're sweating and you're perspiring and you're very cool. And I remember at one of the Asian gigs, every head of the country was wearing the Java Ikat shirt. Even Manmohan Singh, he was there, and they were wearing these Japanese Ikat shirts. And at that time the weather demands a cool white dhoti with full air conditioning and a cool white kurta. And I hope Prime Minister Modi takes the sartorial lead here. My recollection in Sri Lankan leaders dress the way cooler. Jayawardene always wears a cool white dhoti, and what's wrong with that? I'm no votary of dhoti, but then I don't find anything objectionable to that as well. The main thing is you have got to be decent, well-dressed, and civilized. I don't expect you to come in the underwears. And then Modi, I admire him. He met President Z in Tamil Nadu and he was wearing dhoti. Formal does not have to be heavy. Expecting officials to wear jackets and ties when the temperature across the North India is across near 50 degrees defies common sense. As a matter of fact, we need to choke the necktie and untied we should stand. I remember in my school days, we used to be caned if we were not wearing a D jacket at the dinner time. And even now I feel many times if I'm wearing a jacket and I'm not wearing a tie, I feel semi-naked. So, but that's a hangover. And now I'm coming to kurtas and open neck shirts. So here in this climate I can wear the ties. But then maybe I'll wear them in a business meeting, and I do wear them. And I wear them when I'm having a open shirt. But let's not forget that necktie is a suffocating hangover from our colonial past. And if you have to suffer or enjoy as they do an academic regalia once or twice, typical in the graduation day you are wearing hats and you are wearing gowns, that's okay. That's once in a lifetime experience. And there is a certain joy in throwing the aquatic academic cap, in the air, because that symbolizes freedom from the rigors of the academia. But whosoever swore allegiance to the necktie in a country where the average temperature is 45 degree plus deserves to be choked. I've not seen people such people. Of course, the lovers of neckties like me have a legion, judging from the report that India is the world's second largest producer of neckties. The tie, they say, will protect as much a part of Western attire as pants and shirts, and hasn't the latter been absorbed by the Indian wardrobe? Yes. So wear them, but then don't force others to wear them. And as a matter of fact, the fans of Oscar Wilde, A. Houseman, call it a sophisticated means of self-expression because it serves no practical purpose. And it reflects the personality of the wearer. Honestly, I don't know. I wear a necktie, but whether it reflects my personality or not, I don't know. Now I wear it only when I'm going to an official meeting. I like that. No, but this can also apply to pretty much any accessory, like headgear, for example, with the added advantage of serving a practical purpose. As a matter of fact, turban is an ideal headgear for India. And headgear makes more sense than a necktie does, which is why we have a rich indigenous legacy of colorful, elaborate pagdis, turbans, topis, and caps anywhere in the world. I remember a story that necktie, which is a descendant of cravat, came from the Croats, hence cravat. They have been claimed of Turkish, Hungarian, and even Chinese origin, but India is nowhere in the neckties. It was handed over to us by the Britishers, and it's an imported accessory is evident from the fact that we have to describe a term to describe it. In Hindi they call necktie a kant langot, a robe for the neck. And I'm not kidding you. While one can understand an occasional shot on the tie, to make it as a special occasion, and even in USA, wearing a necktie can be helpful in winter, but not in the stifling Arizona or Texas. Mercifully, our political class has long forsaken it. The political leaders don't wear it. Manmohan Singh used to wear it, and then he stopped wearing with the jodhpurs. But why must they also be baked in bandgala coats, jodhpurs, all the time? No. Have an open shirt. Let the air come in. And then you don't need even the air conditioning at that level. As a matter of fact, the sartorial Massachusetts suffocating was a slavish fetish for the necktie. And many countries are getting rid of this because it's essentially decorative. The Japanese government had a big program, and they launched no neck jacket, no tie campaign to cut down the air conditioning. And here is a judge sitting on the high podium asking a person to wear a jacket. Ludicrous. The Iranian government dumped it a long time back, calling it decadent. And it was a symbol of the Western oppression. And then Israel has also rejected it as impractical and unnecessary. In USA, these are in decline. What was once $1 billion industry in mid-90s is today just $400 million industry. That's as far as the necktie manufacture is concerned. And on the West Coast, technical companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, they all encourage casual dressing. When you're casually dressed, you're not always fumbling whether the knot is in proper shape or not, or whether no. And it helps to have the warmer weather, even on the East Coast. And casual Fridays are now the norm, and casual Fridays are becoming weekdays. So we are trending towards only formal one-day rather meetings. And now 67% of the people don't wear ties to the work. I was reading a report from the Men's Dressing Furnishing Association, which represents the tie makers for more than 60 years. And they said they have, in the final report, they say, we are closing the office because we don't need it. But they are reincarnated into the shape of the Indian judges. So whether the judges are commenting on the sartorial aspect, or they are commenting stupidly on the sexual harassment cases, they need to loosen up. They need to grow up. They need to be sensible and to be sensitive. Otherwise, people lose all respect and regard for this dignified office. As a matter of fact, you have got to deserve to be sitting there in that chair. And these judges definitely don't deserve to be there. But who is listening? High Court should have immediately frowned upon this judge, suo motu. But then the Supreme Court itself is suffering from the same issue. And the sooner that comes to an end, the better it would be. But would it happen? Let's wait and watch. Thank you.